Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Dr. Jim Willie says big banks are deliberately suppressing XRP price to accumulate more at a discount. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so Dr. Jim Willie, not someone who I'm completely familiar with, and to be honest with you, when I see this, I kind of understand why he's not someone who's really come across my timeline before. But he has a PhD in statistics. And so he was on the Black Swan Capitalist podcast, and he's basically talking about how, obviously as the title says, the XRP is being suppressed. So, you know, the big institutions can accumulate as much XRP as possible. Okay, so, you know, if you guys have been in the XRP, community for long enough, you know there's plenty of stories about XRP being held back and how, all these banks are accumulating XRP ready to flip the switch and then all the banks will be using XRP, all that kind of stuff, right? And so I just want to get into this because once again, this is just where I want to share my thoughts and give you guys an alternative point of view. So, okay, let's get into it then. Okay, banks suppressing XRP. Do I believe this is happening? No, I do not. I'm an XRP holder as well, just for the record. I just want to get that out of the way because I know people are probably thinking I'm trying to spread FUD. I'm an XRP holder. I'm very bullish on XRP. But I just don't believe these narratives. I really don't believe them at all. And I'll give you a quick example right now as we get into it. So, okay, they want to say that XRP is being suppressed at a discount. Let's just have a quick look here at the crypto market right now. So I've got here, the top 10 cryptocurrencies. So let's have a look at their trading volume within the last 24 hours. So you've got Bitcoin down 1.71%, Ethereum down 2.67%, XRP down 1.59%, BNB down 1.12%, Solana down 3.19%, Dogecoin down 3.30%, and Cardano down 3.88%. So when you hear those numbers, do you not think that they all sound similar to you? Right? Like they all sound like they're down pretty much, within a certain range amount. They're all down basically, right? There's no real outlier there that's like outperforming. So when people are saying, okay, they're suppressing the price of XRP, what makes you think that when you can clearly see the whole market's down together? And this is where I say, when people try to make out this thing where they're singling it out to XRP, they're going against what's just common logic. All you have to do is look at the top 10 cryptocurrencies and the market as a whole, and you can see the whole market's down. This isn't no thing where it's XRP specific. So when they say that this whole thing is like banks trying to keep XRP down, why? What reason have they got? Now, okay, Dr. Jim Willie has said that it's because, they want to get it at a low price. Now, look, this is the thing that I'll say, right? I'm not saying that, manipulation doesn't exist. I'm not saying that, for example, in the stock market, you don't have things where stuff can be manipulated. I'm not even saying that the crypto market isn't manipulated. I'm not even saying that because if you ask me, that whole liquidation event that happened on October the 10th, that was manipulated as far as I can see because there was an insider trader who made literally hundreds of millions off of that whole thing. So, there's definitely manipulation at play. But what I'm saying is this isn't specific to XRP. They're manipulating the whole market. So when people are trying to make out like this is specific to XRP, that's where my argument is here. It's not to say that they're not trying to suppress the crypto market in general. These things do happen. That of course, that does happen. But the way they're talking is they try and make it like it's just about XRP. It's not. It's the whole market. So you've just got to understand that, while I can acknowledge that, yes, there are things going on here and it does seem that manipulation does happen within this market. It does seem that that's quite apparent to me. They're not just trying to single out XRP, right? They're doing it to the market as a whole. It's really not XRP specific. Now, one of the things that they say is because of the price, they want to try and keep the price down. And again, this is where I have to say, it's I have to laugh when I hear this because it's okay, so they say that XRP's price was being suppressed in, let's just say, September 2024. I don't know the exact price, but XRP was probably around between 40 and 60 cents, right? And then it shot up to $3 by November, December times, right? Was they suppressing the price then? why wasn't they suppressing the price at that point? Do you see what I mean? It's like they're suppressing the price until they aren't. And this is where I feel like it's silly to make this argument, because if you're going to say that XRP's price was being suppressed, what's your whole explanation as to why it went from 50 cents up to $3 then? Like, what's your argument for that? And then when it goes back down, it's like, oh yeah, they want to keep it under this price, under $3. And it's like, but it went to $3 in the first place. So why would they have allowed it to get to $3 and then suppress it again? Why wouldn't they have just suppressed it from it ever even going to $3 in the first place? It really just doesn't make sense. And so he's saying that they're trying to keep it under $3 so they can accumulate as much as possible. This is the thing I'll say, right? These big banks, these institutions, they're not like retail, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, it's great if they can get the prices at cheaper rates and stuff like that, but they can buy XRP at whatever price it needs to be, right? Like, these companies, they're not exactly short of cash. We're talking about huge banks here and stuff like that. So while I can acknowledge, yeah, if they can get it cheaper, they will. And I'm still saying that manipulation does exist. I still don't buy that these, banks are just like here, like, oh, we need to get it like 20 cents cheaper. Oh, we need to get it under like, 50 cents cheaper. Like, I really don't think they're scrapping for like these little bits of change like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, from $1 to $3, it's not that big a deal to them. It's really not. These are huge institutions. So look, I'm not saying that manipulation doesn't happen. I'm not saying that at all. But I just don't buy that this is one big conspiracy theory just to hold XRP back specifically. Like, you can look at the whole market and it's like, again, if you're saying that they're trying to keep XRP under $3, well, what are you saying for the rest of the market then? Because all those percentages in the top 10 were pretty similar, right? There was between like 1.59% roughly up to about 3.88%. Not a huge difference there. So the whole market is pretty much acting the same. So this is where, like, you can have these theories about XRP, but the truth is just following the rest of the market. That's the clear, and this is the thing, like, there's clear evidence. Like, I've literally just shown you the top 10 cryptos and showed you the percentages. So there's evidence for this. So it's like, why would I want to believe a conspiracy theory with no actual evidence to back this up over what I can actually see with my own two eyes as actual fact? So it's like, look, if people want to believe this stuff, that's fair enough, but I don't believe that there's any kind of thing to just try and hold XRP down. I really don't. I do believe there could be a thing to keep the crypto market down. Like, for example, the October 10 liquidations. I think that that's a very real possibility that was to get out a lot of leverage, because the market could have been ready to make a lot of people a lot of money. Right, like, there was a lot of leverage in the market, expecting the market to go up, and Bitcoin was at roughly $126,000. So it was just sitting there like it was ready to go on its next move, and then we had that liquidation event. And I think that was, personally, this is just my own opinion, I think that was to wipe out a lot of the leverage traders, because they were ready to make a lot of money if Bitcoin had have continued to go on to a new all-time high. And so it was to wipe those out. And because there was insider trading also going on, it turned out that someone made millions off of the back of inside information that Trump was going to, spook the markets. So, like, I do believe that this stuff does happen. I'm not saying that there's not manipulation at play at all. But what I'm saying is it's not just specific to XRP. It's really not. It's just to the whole market, and so for me, I'm not buying this personally. Like, I'm saying that at the end of the day, like, there's nothing specific to XRP, because at the end of the day, if you really want to try and make some big money, you could get into other cryptos. It's not like it's only XRP that's going to go up in value. Like, if you think about Bitcoin, even in this, supposed bull run that we're having, Bitcoin has still been a big performer in this bull run, right? Like, it's outperformed many cryptos out there. So at the end of the day, like, it's evident that, you could have put money into Bitcoin and made profit. Do you see what I mean? These banks are not going to be just utilizing XRP when, regulations come through. There's other cryptos that can serve purposes, that can do things, that have utility. So you could say, well, what about the other cryptos that are going to be useful that we would want to use and the institutions are going to want to use? Why wouldn't they want to scoop those up at discount prices and things like that? Do you see what I mean? Like, it's not going to be, oh, we're only going to use XRP. And please, if you do think that, you need to get out of that mentality. Like, it's not going to be just one chain, one network that rules them all, and then all the others just disappear. That's not going to happen. Like, the future is going to be interoperable. There is going to be numerous chains that are successful. Now, nowhere near to the amount of cryptocurrencies we've got out in existence now, because we've got like 20,000 plus, so it's going to be nowhere near that. But there will be numerous chains that will be successful, and they'll all interoperate with each other. And that's where we'll be going. So, at the end of the day, like, if they was just looking for cryptos to buy at a cheap price, there's a few that they could do. There's a few that they could be manipulating the price on to get these dips and accumulate these dips. But at the end of the day, like, for these banks, they've got the money to just buy at whatever price they want to buy. You know, like, for example, when you look at Michael Saylor, not saying his business practice is necessarily the best, but he's not necessarily just waiting on dips. He's just buying. He just buys whenever he wants to buy because he has the money to. And that's what it's going to be like for these banks. If they want to buy at $3, it's not a big deal to them. Especially when you look at where these cryptos are going to go long term, especially XRP in my opinion. I think XRP is going to be way more valuable than $3 in the long term. So what does it matter if you get it at $3 for an institution? They're not like us. They're not like retail where, you know, for us, getting in a dollar compared to getting at $3 is a lot more profit that we could be taking. That's a lot more meaningful to us, right? These banks are not like, you know, like retail holders where they have fear and the worry. Like, they will just hold. You know, if they believe it's going to be here for the long term, which I believe crypto will be, and I believe XRP will be, they're not going to be worrying about these dips and stuff. They'll just hold it, right? Like, this isn't one person's wealth. This is a company. So the company is not going to have fear or anything like that. They'll just hold on to it. They'll just see all these dips and the highs and the lows. They'll just see them through. It won't be a big deal to them. So I don't think they're worrying about these little price dips, like dropping down to 50 cents to $1 to $2. They don't care. It's not going to affect them that way. They've got big money to play with. So yeah, to me, if I'll be honest with you guys, like, this isn't XRP specific. They're not trying to hold XRP down. Like, it's just the fact that the market is where the market is. All the cryptos are just following each other. They're all following Bitcoin because that's the leader of the pack right now. So that's just how it goes. Eventually, I do believe there will be a decoupling from Bitcoin, but we're not at that point yet, clearly. So I think as it stands right now, we just got to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I just don't buy this narrative that these banks are all coming together to try and suppress XRP. I'm sorry, I just don't see that. And there's evidence to prove to the contrary, right? So, you know, I'll leave it there. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm not buying this. I don't take this with any kind of credibility personally. You know, as I say, there's enough data and evidence to prove really that that's just not the case. So obviously you guys are free to make your own opinions, but just trying to show you an alternative point of view here. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.